Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Steven Flowe of the Super Wrestlers, and you are now listening to Sit Down Mark's podcast.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody out there? Welcome, episode number 149 of the Sit Down Mars podcast. Welcome. Come on in, sit down. We're going to continue this series of doing interviews with all these up-and-coming, young and hungry wrestlers. And Primo is with me today. And boy, we have a huge one for you because, there's a lot of buzz going on about this guy right now. He's went viral. There's people, my age, who grew up on grunge music that are calling me, texting me saying, hey man, have you checked out this guy? And I go, hey man, I'm in wrestling. Of course I've seen this guy. And everybody wanted me to bring him on and talk to him. And I wanted to myself, man, because I'm a big fan myself. So I want to thank everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook right now, and everybody listening on Apple, Spotify, Audible, and sportswireradio.org. And you heard me talk about it. He recently just went viral just for debuting his gimmick, and he's gaining national attention from podcasts, magazines, and fans of the 90s grunge era. Please welcome independent wrestler Steven Flowe. What's going on, brother? Welcome.
How's it going? It's nice to meet the both of you. I'm very excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah, how about it, Primo? We got a viral sensation on the podcast today, brother.
Man, you ain't kidding. I'm telling you, I had people come up to me singing your theme song that don't even have, I'm on the East Coast. They're over here where I'm at, They don't know anything about Midwest independent scene. So, and they know about you. So that's pretty awesome.
It is very awesome. It is, it's a very surreal moment, honestly. It has been a couple months already. It feels like it was just yesterday, and we are already only 2 weeks away from the next Super Wrestler show. Well, less than 2 weeks now. It's going to be Sunday, March 9th.
Yeah, man, we're going to talk about Super Wrestlers for sure, man. But let's jump right into it, Steven. You're a Chicago guy, independent wrestler. You've been on the scene for a little while. I think you've been wrestling somewhere around 8 years now. I think if I did my research correctly. So you've seen a lot, man, in independent wrestling, and, all of a sudden, bang, you introduce this, brand new gimmick, and boom, you're, viral, and, all of a sudden, after putting in work, but, for so many years, and then boom, all of a sudden everybody knows who you are, everybody wants to know about you. You know what I mean? It's kind of the beauty of wrestling sometimes, right? But let's talk about, going viral, man, that instant attention, that you got. I'm sure your phone started lighting up, fucking going crazy, talk about that day, those first couple days, man. What was that like?
Well, it was honestly crazy because, a lot of people don't know about this, but the day it went viral was the day after the 17 years of my father passing away. Oh. And my father is the one that got me into wrestling when I was 3 or 4 years old. I remember growing up watching SmackDown when I was a kid. Because, we didn't have cable yet, so it was always SmackDown, no Raw yet.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah. That was the crazy part about the whole thing. I kind of had this feeling after the match that I had just done something different. Mm-hmm. It's an unexplainable feeling, but when I got the notifications that it was blowing up on Twitter, and then started blowing up on Instagram, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta make a new Twitter, because I wasn't using Twitter.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, you're like, oh shit! All of a sudden, I'm relevant. I gotta get this social media stuff going.
I did not have a Twitter, so it took for some reason it took all night. I don't know what was wrong with it that night, but it took me forever to make a Twitter. I was up to like 7 or 8 in the morning making the Twitter, and then I think the next day or the day after made the Instagram.
Yeah, because you got to have these as an independent wrestler because people want to tag you, people want to follow you, people want to, and that's how a lot of independent wrestlers get booked these days. People, they reach out to them on social media, see if they're available. So, wow, man, the timing of that is pretty amazing, in itself. I don't know that I've heard that, yet. So, that's crazy, man. So, yeah. So you talk about your dad, getting you into wrestling, that kind of stuff, early childhood memories of wrestling, man. Who was it? Like, who were you watching on TV, like, that got you going?
Well, my earliest memory of wrestling is Kane walking down the ramp with, and he was still wearing the mask. And I guess, I don't know, it had to have been in the time where he had switched over to Raw after that because I hadn't seen him in a while. And then when I seen him again, he was bald, and I was like, "That's not Kane." And my dad's like, "Yeah, that's Kane." I remember that. But no, my favorites growing up were always Kane and the Undertaker, and same with my brother as well. My brother is a couple of years older than me. He's autistic, but man, we were still wrestling each other at that age all the way up until, through going through high school. When I was in 6th grade, my brother accidentally broke my foot.
Oh,
2 places.
wow.
Yeah, he gave me a tombstone pile driver.
Holy shit.
From a tombstone pile driver, and my foot came and slammed off the end of a dresser.
Oh, dude, they tell you don't try this at home, man.
Nope,
you weren't listening. You weren't listening.
I was not listening. Nope.
Oh man, that's crazy. Okay, yeah. So the family watched wrestling, of course, and you guys were into it, obviously. Wrestling each other. So you start to think about, okay, I want to wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, I think I can do what that guy does. I think I can do what that guy does. So as you got a little bit older into wrestling, who were you kind of like watching then? Like, who was, kind of like, okay, who was you into, like, as your little bit older fandom? I'm thinking probably like 2000s, maybe late 2000s, probably.
I am, oh shit, I'm not gonna lie. Really, like, growing up, it was always The Undertaker. That was always my favorite. But I really liked AJ Styles in my late teenage years. Shinsuke Nakamura was one I liked. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins,
Yeah.
But no, The Undertaker was always my favorite, and my dad's favorite was Andre the Giant, so he was another one of my favorites as well.
Hell yeah, old school.
Yeah, and I was named after Stone Cold Steve Austin, so he was automatically one of my favorites too.
So Steve comes from Steve Austin?
Yeah, my brother's named after Eric Bischoff.
Oh, heck yeah. My shoe name is Eric too, so I've always been partial to that one. Heck yeah, man. I love that. That's great. Oh yeah, so all right, so the family's definitely into it, there's a foundation of wrestling there, and so you've been through quite a little journey in your training, like I said, 8 years, but you quickly put it in a nutshell, how your training came about. And I'm not sure a lot of people know the story of all the training, but yeah, just put that together for us real quick.
Okay, so before wrestling, I was going to a youth group, and I had met this guy. His name is Mitch, and it turned out he was a lot older than me. He was one of the youth leaders, but he was a big wrestling fan too, so we automatically clicked right away.
Sure.
But, about a year or so after we had met, he got into the wrestling business, and he got into training and stuff. And then he's like, "Man, Steve, this is really tough, man. I don't know if you want to do this stuff." And then it had come to like maybe a year or two after he was in. And down the street from my house, I'm from Midlothian, Illinois. So down the street from my house was the Thunderbolts Stadium in Crestwood, and they were a wrestling show that day. And Mitch was like, "So, Steve, if you really want to do this, you come meet us at the at the stadium at 10 a.m." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'll be there." So I show up at 10 a.m. Nobody's there for another like hour or two. And finally a couple people start showing up. I don't see Mitch until like way later in the day. So I met a few people before he showed up, and one of those few people I met was Warwick Stevens and Quinn Whittick, who is also the JCW's Cocaine.
Yeah, the cocaine gimmick. I've seen that one. I mean, you guys went viral like very close together, right? Like
it was very surreal. Yeah, it was we pretty much trained together after that. I mean, not pretty much. Like we did train together after that. Warwick, he had pulled me aside and he was like, I see a lot of potential in you. And I had just opened up a new wrestling school. We've decided to go with this MMA gym. They had like karate, wrestling, pro wrestling, boxing, like all sorts of fighting stuff.
Sure.
It's the hybrid gym out in the north side of Chicago. Some people might know about it, but they don't do the pro wrestling anymore. There's some shit fell through with that. But that's a long story. But my first 10 months, it was just training in a boxing ring with Warwick Stevens and Cocaine. And I caught along pretty quick because it was just the three of us. And Warwick was able to really break things down to me because it wasn't such a big class that he had to teach. But
yeah, so you got more one-on-one training. He could be, it was all personal. That's good.
Yeah. And then my 10 months in was when Just Pro Wrestling at the time had merged with us, and we had finally gotten a wrestling ring in the gym. And about a year into them merging with us, I had shattered my foot.
Right. That was when you did that.
14 pieces, and I was out for 7 months.
Yeah,
Wow.
Primo can relate. He's laid up right now too. He's on some foot surgery.
Yeah, I just got my 4th cast today, actually.
Oh. Yeah, every time I see somebody in a cast, it always brings back memories.
Yeah, man.
It starts hurting again, and I'm like, shit, man. But no, when my foot broke, by the time I came back into wrestling, my trainer had already quit the business for a little bit. He had just had a newborn baby, and there was so much stuff in his personal life that was going on, and just had to, so after that, it was me and Cocaine training together for a while. But yeah, after I just came back, COVID happened, and then we were out for another year and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
there wasn't a lot of wrestling going on at all in Chicago during COVID.
Yeah, I remember it slowly opened back up, and there was like, people being brought in for matches, and then they were shuffled out, and the next people were brought in. How we didn't know a whole lot about it then. So, all right, so during that time, and before we get to Steven Flowe, was there a gimmick before Steven Flowe?
So when I first started, I was Mr. 100. It was
Mr. 100. All right.
Mr. 100 Joey.
Superhero?
Yeah, he was a superhero.
Yeah.
Pretty much it looked like Clark Kent, but in that stage of the gimmick, it was me. It was pretty much like, the beginning of Spider-Man, and he's in like, is not he's not in his final suit yet. He's just in the closet clothes.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like that. Like I debuted, and it was gonna start off like that, and then evolve into something a little bit bigger. But then I broke my foot, and then COVID happened. And then when I came back through COVID, I was like, man, I think I'm just gonna just call myself Joey Dalton, and then just kind of figure out who I am in the ring. And fast forward another couple years later, Steven Flowe happens, and I'm like, well, shit, I guess this is who I'm known as.
Right. That's who I'm going to be now, right? Yeah.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. So, I heard that, Steven Flowe kind of started off as a joke, as far as, putting the gimmick together. So when you guys are in a car or whatever, putting it together and you're talking about it, that kind of stuff, like, how's it all start out?
Yeah. So Steven Flowe was born in probably, like, realistically around 2022, around there. It was in a car ride with cocaine and a few other wrestlers. He made the joke when Even Flow by Pearl Jam plays on the radio. He's like, Steven Flowe. We all start laughing. And then and we didn't think about it really at first, because we always joke around with songs. I mean, even to this day, like, we hear a song playing, and if we think of something funny, we'll say, hey, we'll say it
instead of the real words. Yeah.
But it was after one of the Super Wrestler shows last year, probably around the March, or I think it was around the March show last year.
Okay.
We're hanging out at Billy Wack's house after the show, which he is the promoter of the Super Wrestlers. And Even Flow by Pearl Jam just so happens to play downstairs.
And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, then Quinn goes and looks at Billy Wack, and he's like, hey, Steven Flowe. And he laughs at first. But then he gets these big wide eyes, and he's like, oh, shit.
I think I'm onto something, yeah.
And then he looks right at me, and he's like, dude, you got to do it. You got to do it. And
Right.
I'm all for it. Like, it was perfect, because I was like, my shoot name is Steven. Is not Steven Flowe, but my shoot name is Steven.
Sure.
Which
is a lot of times what happens. People,
the wrestling world were knowing me as Joey, so nobody called me Steven. It just so happened he just looked at me. He's like, you got to do it. And I'm like, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. Which that happens a lot in wrestling. It's kind of a play. A lot of times off of your real name. Spin that kind of stuff. So super wrestlers, real quick, before we deep dive into your gimmick, super wrestlers. They call themselves the world's strangest wrestling company, right? And it's basically, they don't have any titles. I think they're like fighting for something that's going to give them powers, but it's a very hugely, insanely character driven promotion. Correct, Steven? When I say that, right? Yeah.
It's very character driven. A lot of the super wrestlers that are on the Super Wrestlers will not be on other shows,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of them that, like Danger Mask, he's one that is on the Super Wrestlers, and also out on another couple shows. Same thing with Shogun. But I mean, other than those two, there's like really nobody. And I mean, Jordan Cross. But I mean, other than those three, nobody really uses their Super Wrestlers name outside of that. It's a very crazy world there, and it's a very fun locker room to be a part of as well. Everybody's really cool.
Yeah. Do you have plans on using your gimmick outside of Super Wrestlers?
Oh yeah, there's definitely there's something coming out pretty soon. I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it yet, but it'll be shared pretty soon.
Don't divulge too much. But that was going to be one of my questions. Two things. Number one, when you first started 8 years ago, is where you are now kind of maybe where you envisioned your, wrestling style to go? And also, do you see you see Steven Flowe, evolving to, hold some legs down the road, or, to keep it going?
Yeah. So when I first started, no, I had no idea I was gonna be doing like a grunge or like a rock star kind of gimmick. Or like I was just in this to figure out who I am and like really go at this because it's all I've ever wanted to do in life is wrestle. Ever since I was 4 years old, I was like, that's what I want to do. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be finding ways to keep myself relevant throughout the years because I am only 25 years old, so definitely have a lot of Steven Flowe to show off to the world out there throughout the years.
Yeah, and there's a lot more that you could unfold with this character on down the road. Like
it is just the beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with this.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're a real fan of rock, right? So you could there's so much you could pull from, so much you could do. Yeah.
I was listening to Pearl Jam a lot growing up. They were one of my favorites. It was a lot of classic rock growing up because my aunts and uncles are a lot older. My mom was like 36 when I was born. My dad was 38. So I was growing up listening to a lot of AC/DC and Metallica.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, which Metallica is one of my favorites, and Black Sabbath is one of my favorites. Same thing with I could list a lot of them, but
sure. Well, let's get back to the gimmick, man. Let me ask you. So, all right. So, all right. He looks at you and he says, "All right, Steven Flowe's going to work." All right. So, do you immediately kind of, I'm just going fantasy book in my grunge era of mine now, Steven. I got to remind you that in 1991, when Nirvana's Nevermind album hit, and in the grunge era, kind of began all that. I was 18 years old, man. So I had a boner for all this shit, man. You know what I mean? I still do. Like, I love this music. You know what I mean? So, so in my mind, I'm thinking, maybe you're going and studying videos of Eddie Vedder, and jumping off speakers at festivals and, doing some of the crazy stuff he did. You know what I mean? Like, there's things to be studied there with Eddie, right? Like,
definitely. Definitely saving the climbing around shit for other stuff, but I could throw it in there in my entrance when I'm climbing up the back of the turnbuckle post after I circle around the ring and say hi to all the fans and stuff. But I don't know when I'm gonna have to do it, but at some point it'll be done where I'm gonna have to climb something.
Right. And you're gonna have to drop an elbow on like Napster or something from like the old days, you know what I mean? So and the funny part too is like, I've told you there's people texting me, they all want to know, does he have moves named after, is his finisher called The Last Kiss? Does he have a does he have a pillow made of concrete that he slaps people with, you know what I mean? Like, and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So any of that trickling into the gimmick yet?
Well, so the pillow made of concrete, I don't know what I'm going to be bringing. But the move that I do before the elbow drop, the big fireman's carry slam that I do, I call that the Steven Flosion into the rock and roll elbow drop.
All right.
Yeah. We got the stage dive off the top rope on a couple of people that I've hit that on.
Oh yeah, that's good shit, man.
That's awesome, dude.
So let's talk about the debut, man. So we got the gimmick down now, and we're about to debut. Was your first match against a guy named Siphon? Was that his name?
Yeah.
I'm saying that correctly. Okay.
Yeah, he's known as Shaq Jordan.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So this is where you went viral. This was the debut. You know, everybody seen the clip and started passing it to their friends and started passing it to their, any Pearl Jam fan probably got that clip.
The debut was actually back in September of last year.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, the debut was back in September of last year. That was more or less like a day of trying to see if is this really going to be a joke or is this going to be something. And then that day felt really crazy before the match. Like I was really hyped up before that. And
right.
I mean, you could even see it in the entrance. I'm breathing like really hard. I am so just ready to do this. Yeah, like it was just so it's hard to put into words the feeling of the whole thing. But the match with Siphon, it was just it was awesome because he was another one that trained with us at Wrestle League.
Yeah.
And it was my first time getting to work one-on-one with him. But the whole crazy thing about that whole thing was I was just hoping to see if this was going to be a joke or not. And by the end of the entrance, people were singing Steven Flowe before I even started wrestling. It was a match with Jordan Cross back in December.
Yeah.
That, it was a screenshot that was thrown on Twitter that started making rounds first, and then people were like, "Oh, we got to hear the song and stuff." And then the song and the video started going around and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of, man, it's crazy, man, because so we're going to play a small little clip of your interest music here. So what it is, it's even Flow by Pearl Jam, but it's, some of the lyrics are changed. And I think everybody in Superstars have their own theme song.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Here we're going to take a few little seconds to check out Steven Flowe's theme song here. All right, so we've had a chance to hear that now, and now it's all going to be stuck in our heads. But very cool. I think a lot of people can relate with with that music, obviously. So so you come out, man, yeah, and the music is playing. What's the feeling? When you come out and everybody's kind of going nuts over you.
It is a crazy feeling. It's like a crazy wave of energy hitting you all at once. Like you feel it like everywhere in your body. It is nuts. It's not. There's not really a word to describe the feeling of that, but I mean it's like a mix of adrenaline, dopamine, like it's just all mixed together. And then doing the match itself as well is also another surreal feeling. Because I mean, doing the match now, like going through the match is nothing, but like the feeling of everything just makes the match feel like 10 times more intense than it really is. And
yeah,
the feeling is really great. It's not a stressful feeling at all. Like I'm still not annoyed by the Steven Flowe song.
Yeah,
It's been stuck in my head the last few months. I'm still not annoyed by it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, looks like I had a little audio snafu there, so we're going to replay it this time, and we're going to hear the music. All right, Primo, hit it.
Steven Flowe, Steven Flowe, Steven Flowe, oh Steven Flowe, Steven Flowe is on his way.
All right, so there we go. Yeah, it's very catchy tune. Very, very catchy tune.
Love that.
Yeah. So we go viral, right? And things start getting crazy. Has things settled down for you, or are people still trying to get back to you, and that kind of stuff, or you still being bothered by a lot of people like me?
No, it has not settled down. No. Instagram has been going every day. Twitter settled down a little bit, but
okay.
Instagram has been going every day since the start.
Nice.
Flooding, like whether it's just likes throughout the day or a comment or something. It's crazy to say, but I think for Instagram, I think the longest I've went without getting a notification is maybe 15 minutes.
Right.
That's awesome though.
It is. It's a good problem to have, man, for sure. So
I mean, with when you're a viral sensation like that, and then you have a viral clip of you coming to the ring with that music and the crowd going nuts. I mean, I think I saw it twice just last week, and like I said, I have coworkers who have seen it, and they've been asking me, you guys gonna eventually one day get this guy on the pod? And I was like, excited to tell them that you were coming. But also, somebody new is probably seeing that every day, so that's that's just another one to put in a feather in your cap. So that's awesome for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Still getting weird emails. Somebody sent me a fan-made version of Steven. It was hilarious. I wish I could play it, but I'm talking to you guys on my phone.
Right.
Yeah, man. So and plus too, man, there's people like me. There's a huge group of like 90s music fans, out there who's probably seen you on TikTok or or a reel or something like that, who probably are not wrestling fans, and and by the uniqueness of your character, and them, wanting to, kind of see, kind of what you're about, I always like it when stuff like this, it brings more eyes to wrestling, you know what I mean? And, it gets people, excited and watching things that, they wouldn't normally would, because, they're, into, that music or that style, that gimmick, I know when I seen heard about you, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love this, you know what I mean? Because, most of my favorite bands are from the 90s, but, so let's talk about other things, man. Like, Vice, MSN, I think, has written articles about you. You did a podcast with Sean Ross Sapp, magazines are talking about you. And, gamers are creating you on video games. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Speaking of gamers, there's a game channel called Game Grumps that just mentioned me at the end of one of their videos a couple days ago. Shout out to them too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's group. I mean, it's so. Bill Burr, probably my favorite comedian ever.
Yeah,
he mentions you. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Out of everything that happened after going viral, I would say the Bill Burr one kind of hit me the hardest, because he is like, I'm like, oh shit, I've been watching this guy for a while. He definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite comedian.
Right. Yeah. So, that's cool, man. So, I mean, that's got to be wild. You know what I mean? And like, I was just trying to imagine, being in your shoes there, it's, all of a sudden things happen and how people know who you are. There's, celebrities mention your name. It's wild, man. So let me ask you, Steven, are you enjoying the ride, brother?
Oh yeah, man. I've just been waiting for it all to, happen. I guess. I mean, this is all I've lived for. Really, I never knew it was gonna be Steven Flowe exactly, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was gonna have to do this one way or another in pro wrestling, and yeah, this is definitely a good start off into the into the real world of pro wrestling.
Do people close to you use you as they're like, hey, I know that famous guy, like I know Stephen Flowe. He's I'm close to him.
Yeah, there's a couple of friends of mine that whenever like we're out somewhere, like we'll go to like Walmart or some shit, or like
Mhm.
like a Jewasco, I don't know, but we come out of the store and then somebody will be like, they don't even realize that's Steven Flowe.
How dare they?
Yeah, and then it got me doing it to a couple other people.
Oh, that's so funny.
So we all kind of do it to each other. It's pretty funny.
Oh, that's great, man. That's great. So, all right, Steven. So, what's up next, man? Where are we going to catch you at? Let's talk about this Superstars, Super Wrestlers show, Sunday, March the 9th. If you're watching right now on YouTube and Facebook, I got the graphic pulled up on screen for you. It's going to be at the Concord Music Hall. What's happening that night with you, Steven?
I'm not sure yet, but I know that it is going to be something big. It is going to be very big, and I don't know who my opponent is yet, but stuff will be coming out on social media very shortly as well in the next few days or so. But I got the flyer right here behind me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, right here.
Yeah, so is this live streamed anywhere, or you have to watch it on YouTube after if you don't go to the shows? Is that how it works?
Yeah, if you're not at the show, I think it takes about a month or so for everything to be edited and posted out on YouTube. But yeah, it is going to be a crazy show.
Yeah, man. So you're a Chicago-based wrestler. Obviously, you getting more work these days. You getting more looks, more bookings. Since you went viral and more people, asking about your schedule.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's been they've all been out of the way though, like nowhere around my area.
Sure.
So it's like when I, gives them a number, most of them can't afford it.
Sure. For travel and everything. Yeah. Yeah.
I did want to point out you're on that poster twice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nice. I don't think I noticed. I noticed the one off to the left, but
yeah, there's one up at the top too.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Oh wow. All right, so Steven, what's your favorite Pearl Jam song, man?
Even Flow.
Yeah, of course, has to be.
I thought you were going to tell me a curveball and be like, "Nah, man, I really love Yellow Ledbetter," or "Dance of the Clairvoyants" was a jam of mine or something. But
yeah, it's definitely Even Flow was definitely the most listened to Pearl Jam song for me.
Right. Man, I tell you what, man, like, yeah, I already know the answer to this, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask you anyway. Eddie Vedder reached out to you, liked one of your tweets, or any social media, or anything from Pearl Jam at all. Like, No. Okay. All right. We got to get you guys in the same building or something. We got to get Pearl Jam to come to a show that you're wrestling at or something. Like, if it gets big enough, they'll pay attention. You know what I mean? That's just.
Yeah. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
right.
Man. Yeah, for sure, man. Like I told you, man, I was 18 in 1991 when the whole grunge era came through. Like, I lived and loved. I went to Seattle probably, I think it's been about a year ago, man. I took a grunge tour and, went through, checking out all the stuff. So, man, like grunge is in my heart, dude. And you're on my list now of people that, I want to make it because I love your gimmick, and I really want to see you succeed, man. And I'm a big fan because I love nostalgia, and I love nostalgia acts, in wrestling. And I really wish we had more of these, but I just want to let everybody know, this guy's very popular right now. Get him on your show. Steven, tell everybody where they can reach you at on social media, how you can be booked, that kind of stuff.
You could reach me at Steven Flowe 100 on Instagram. Same thing on Twitter. My name is still Joey Dalton on Facebook, but my email is stevenflow100@gmail.com. That is where you could hit me up for bookings, or you could just hit me up in the inbox on Instagram.
All right. Sounds good, brother. All right, man. Book this man. Get him on your show. Steven, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I know you're a busy dude, and I really do appreciate you coming on today, man, and looking forward to seeing you out there. I'm going to bump into you eventually out there on the independent circuit somewhere, eventually. So, Primo, how about it, man? Viral sensation Steven Flowe on the pod today. I don't know that we've ever had a viral sensation.
No, can't say we have.
We've had plenty of wrestlers.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We are thankful you came on the pod. Thanks for having a chat with us. I gotta ask, you have, obviously you wear the flannel, got the double flannel. You ever gonna, just keep throwing flannels on as you evolve?
Oh yeah. I think eventually I might come out with a third flannel. Maybe.
Third flannel?
Who knows? Maybe a fourth. Maybe I'll come out wearing 8 flannels.
There you go. Oh, and can you and so you haven't hit anybody with a guitar yet, right?
No, I almost did, but Siphon punched right.
Yeah, Siphon smashed it. Yeah, by punching it. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And I really wanted to use it at the last Super Wrestlers show, but it was against Jordan, and he's another cool guy. He didn't do anything to me.
Dang it. Okay, well, it'll happen eventually, and when it does, they deserve it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they'll deserve it. Yep.
All right, real quick here, Steven, before we go home, man, I want to check out your entrance from Superstars. This is you walking to the ring right here.
That's awesome. Whole light show.
Can you guys hear this one?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. That means you need to get some. That means he'll get some more clicks out there.
That's right. Yep.
Man.
Good stuff right there, man. All right, go check out Steven Flowe out there on the independent circuit. Check him out on social media. Steven Flowe, thank you so much for coming on the Sit Down Marks pod today, brother. Thanks for coming today, brother. We appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on the pod, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
man.
Right. Yep.